and welcome to another episode of Ready Set Drone. I've got my Phantom 4 here at the park. It's a beautiful day, a little bit breezy, but not terrible, and it's very cool for this time of year. So we're going to take this guy up and see what it can do. But first of all, if you haven't already set it up, you need to allocate probably about 45 minutes to an hour to download the latest software and update everything on it. Get it all set, tested, get your software installed on your iPad, etc. But once that's all done, and I've got another video that shows that entire process step by step. Once that's all done, you're ready to fly. Now this is going to be my fourth flight with this thing, fourth time out flying it, so I've learned a few tricks and stuff. First of all, I really like this case that it comes with. It's got quite a bit of nice storage in it. I have an extra battery here. That one's got a full charge, as does the one that's in it. Those both have full charges. I have placed my FAA number, registration number, on the drone, so that is there and very easy to find. Got my Ready Set Drone sticker on the top, which I'm pretty psyched about how well that fit right there. And so now I'm going to open up my remote control and go ahead and put the iPad into it. Now this little guy, you push this button and this pulls open, and it fits very nicely just like that. It's definitely it's a bright day outside, and I'm wearing sunglasses, so I'm gonna turn the brightness all the way up on this guy. And let's see, here we go. Brightness and display, and it is all the way up. So I'm going to turn the auto brightness off so that it'll just stay fully bright, and go ahead and open up my DJI app, which is right there. So DJI Go is opening. While that is booting up, I'm going to go ahead and get my cable out. Now, one thing that's different about the Phantom from the Solo is that you actually need to connect the cable into the tablet. You don't have to do that on the Solo, and it's something I took a little bit of getting used to, but it connects right down on the bottom of your remote control and connects into the side of the lightning port. And once that's in, that's good to go. Now the next thing we're going to do is go ahead and put the props on the Phantom itself. Now, as you probably know, there are pushers and pullers, two different sets of props. With this one, it has black and silver stripes, and on the Phantom itself there are black and silver arrows that tell you which one goes where. So I'm going to go ahead and get 4 of these guys out. 2 pushers and 2 pullers. So I've got 2 silvers, and there's another black. Okay, now it's very important. I've had a bit of a mishap in one of my first flights where these weren't on correctly. So the way you do this, and the way you do it properly, is you just press down. You kind of turn it until it fits on, and then press down in the opposite direction that the thing spins. So in this case, this spins clockwise. To tighten it, I turn it counterclockwise, and it'll lock, and once it's locked, it won't come off. So making sure that I'm putting this one on the right spot over here. Black to black, that one's on good. This one here, now I'm going to turn this one clockwise to lock it because it turns counterclockwise. And finally over here on this guy, this is on. Make sure this one's on properly. Oh, see, that was not. So I'm going to do it again, turn it a little bit, and now give it a little tug. So now I've checked, they are all on properly. So now, the next thing I want to do is go ahead and fire this guy up and get it talking to the app. So to do that, I'm just going to turn the power on the remote first. So the remote is over here. You push the power button once, and then you hold it down a second time. You'll hear it beep. It's coming online. And then I'm going to go ahead and, oh, one other thing. Don't forget to take the little guard off your camera down here. This thing holds the camera while it's being transported so it doesn't flop all over the place. And you probably don't want to fly with it because you wouldn't have a very good visual, and you also wouldn't have very good response from the camera, and it might damage the gimbal, honestly. So that's off, my remote's on, my app is open. I'm gonna go ahead and start up the bird. Push the button once, and then a second time I hold it down. You'll hear the fans come on. Now, one thing I'm doing that I actually wouldn't recommend is I'm starting it up under a bunch of trees. So it's gonna look at this as its home point, which is not ideal if it gets in trouble. So what I might do is turn it off and go start it up down in that parking lot so that I'm not here under the home point. But for the sake of just showing you everything, I figured I'd stay here in the shade where all my stuff is until I was ready to actually fly. So once it's on, I should be able to come over here and hit camera on my app. And there is the camera. Now there's a lot of cool things you can do with the app and with the camera. First of all, you can calibrate the compass. I did that last time I flew, so I feel like it's probably good. As I understand it, you're only supposed to calibrate the compass if you travel from one time zone to another or a significant distance. The last time I flew, I was within 10 miles of here, so I feel like the compass is probably good. I hear it talking to us. I'm not sure what it just said. You can see the status here. I'm on the latest firmware. You can see that the IMUs are normal, compass is normal, gimbal is normal, radio channel quality is good, flight mode is option 1, RC mode is 2, which I believe means that the left stick is for throttle and yaw and the right stick is for direction. And yeah, everything's looking like it's pretty good. Now the one thing I want to make sure I can see is how many satellites I have. You can see in the upper left we have 12 satellites locked in right now. It says safe to fly in GPS mode, 97% battery. Now a couple of cool things you can do here. One is adjust your camera. So right now the camera shot actually looks pretty good, but I could go in here and switch my image size. So I've got it in 16:9 aspect ratio. I can switch my white balance. I've got it on auto white balance. I could switch it to sunny since it's a sunny day. Image type, RAW or JPEG. I'm gonna just shoot in JPEG. One other thing that's pretty cool is you actually use the app to format your card. So I've shot some stuff on the card. I don't need it anymore, so I come over here to the little gear and I slide down and I hit format SD, and it's gonna say, are you sure? I'm gonna say yes, and it says SD formatting complete. So now my card is empty, blank, ready to go. That is really cool because I don't have to mess with the camera itself. And one other thing that I've noticed about this is where the SD card is. It's right there on the side, so you don't even have to mess with the camera. The SD card is very conveniently located and really easy to pull in and out. So we've got satellites. We've got what looks like we've got 16 satellites now. We've got a clear space. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and take it over to a better place to take off from.
The home point has been updated. Please check it on the map.
So the app just told me that the home point has been updated, which is great. That means that now the home point is here out from the trees. So I'm back here in the shade a little bit. I've got the safe to fly. I've got, looks like 16 satellites connected currently. And I'm going to go ahead and close that little menu, roll the camera. So the camera is now rolling, and fire up the engines.
The home point has been takeoff.
And take it off. So first of all, this thing is super smooth. It's not as loud as the certainly not as loud as a Solo. It's got very smooth trajectory, good controls, and you can see the gimbal. I'm going to go ahead and rock it back and forth a little bit. You can see how still that gimbal stays with the motor. And that's forward, backwards, left, right. The bottom left of this control allows you to tilt the gimbal down and tilt the gimbal up in a very smooth fashion, which is really cool. Probably want to keep it tilted down just a little bit so you don't see the props. And then this switch over here on the right allows you to increase the exposure or decrease the exposure, making it darker or brighter. So wearing sunglasses, it's a little hard to tell, but probably ISO of 100 and 1/1000th or 1/250th is pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and fly it forward a little bit. You can see how just awesomely smooth that footage is. I believe that I'm way past that, yeah, that power line. Take it up. Now I'm in GPS lock mode right now, which means that it's going to hold in one place. If I come screaming back towards me and I let go of the stick, it applies the air brakes and just stops very smoothly. Let me bring that in a little closer and show you again how that air braking works. So I'm bringing in pretty fast and stop. Now I'm just flying forward. Still got 16 satellites, very clear vision. The light bridge works great. You can see where I'm going. Now I'm pretty much flying this thing FPV at this point. Down pretty low. Now I'm going to take it up high. Look how fast this thing will go up. And one other thing I've noticed about the camera here is you don't get that spherical distortion that the GoPro gives you. It tends to be a lot more flat looking on the horizon. I'm not sure how they fixed that, but it's certainly nice. Crystal clear picture. I'm going to do a little 360 yaw just to look around. There's a couple more things I want to show you about this thing. First of all, the battery. It's a different battery than the Phantom 2 or the Phantom 3, which I know a lot of people are kind of chapped about, of course, because they feel like, oh, why do I have to buy a new battery every single time? You know, I think that DJI makes some money on the batteries, of course, but also I think they're trying to make the batteries last longer, be more reliable, be smarter, and technology in batteries is progressing pretty quickly. So this is the PH4 model. It's a 5350 milliamp hour and 15.2 volt battery, which means that it's a 4S battery. So this has 4 separate cells that each act independently. One cool thing that you can see on the application when you run it is that you can actually see the status of each cell within the battery. Actually, let me show you that real quick. So I'm going to turn the Phantom back on. and it's kind of waiting to do its thing, but let me just show you so you can see the camera's back on. So if I come up here and I tap the battery, see, that's actually showing me the voltage of each of those cells. So it's
point has been updated. Please check it on the map.
3.97, 3.98. There's one that is just slightly off from the other three. The temperature is 43 degrees centigrade, which is kind of warm, but not surprising for a battery. And then I've got the low battery warning set at 30%. I'll probably move that down to 20%. And flight time, I'm assuming, tells you how long you've been flying on this battery. I just turned it off and on, so I think it's at 0. Let's see what the advanced setting. Time to discharge, 10 days. I'm not sure what that means. I'll have to look that up. Show voltage on main screen. It's something you can turn on and off. And history. This kind of gives you the number of charges and discharges on the battery. So if you buy a used battery from somebody, you can get some history on it, which is kind of cool. Let's see what else is in here. Oh, the other thing that's really cool is when you hit this button here, this gives you the takeoff, automatic takeoff. Now I'd have to slide it right now, which I'm not going to do because it's sitting here on the table and I don't want to take off at this moment. But that's your automatic takeoff. And then this remote button here gives you these different features: the tap to fly, the active tracking, which allows you to actually draw a square around somebody and follow them automatically, normal flight, and then intelligent flight has a bunch of different things. It's got follow me, waypoints, home lock, course lock, way more than I'm going to go into right now, but you can see there's a lot built into this software. So I just close that out. I'm in intelligent flight right now. I'm going to go back to normal. There we go. And let's see what else we've got here. You can see the camera settings. We're in 1080p. We are at 1/500th of a second at f2.8, and our EV, which I'm assuming is for our yeah, that's actually our it's like a filter that darkens or lightens. So I had it at -1, so it was slightly dark, but it's such a bright day that that's probably better. I just switched it back to 0. Now I think this this little thing up here is telling us that there's something in front of it. It knows it's something in front and to the right of it with the box over here. Let me move it this way. So now it sees that tree at 11 feet in front of it. Let's see if it sees me. Yeah, now it sees me at 2 feet in front of it. It sees that I'm a big obstacle. So I guess the one other thing we could try here, and I'm a little bit hesitant, but I'm actually kind of anxious to see it work, is the obstacle avoidance. And I'm going to start the camera on it. And I think I'll just use this tree right here. Spin it up. Take it off. Now, I'm going to rotate it to where it's facing that tree. And I'm going to go very slowly towards the tree. Up. Listen to that. I am pushing the stick forward. It will not go forward. Back it up again. So currently it says that the tree is 11 feet away. And there it is. At what it says is 7 feet, it stops. I'm pushing the stick forward. It won't go forward. I let go of the stick. It stops beeping. But you can hear that beep. That is pretty amazing. See if it sees this smaller tree over here. Going towards it. Oh, yes, at 7 feet it says no way, not going any further forward. Let's see if it sees me. I'm gonna step over here into this camera shot. Oh yeah, it won't come any closer. It is not going to come any closer thanks to the cameras in front. So I'll be honest, I was a little bit nervous about trying that obstacle avoidance thing, but I wasn't moving very fast, but it definitely saw things well out in advance. It saw them at, say, 20 feet away, 15 feet away, and then at 7 feet it just beeped and would not go any further, despite the fact that I continued pushing the stick forward. So I tried that with 2 different trees and myself, worked like a charm. That is thanks to these 2 cameras right here in the front of this thing. You can see there's stereoscopic vision, just like people, and that is what helps it, I guess, to determine the depth away from its obstacle and to actually stop in time and not hit it. That's pretty cool. So I'm going to wrap up with this. The Phantom 4 is pretty awesome. It is definitely a big step up from the Phantom 2 that I owned. For those of you that own Phantom 3s, is it worth the upgrade? I don't know. I guess depending on how much money you've put into your 3, how many batteries you bought, what the price is. I can definitely tell you that as an owner of a Phantom 2 with the gimbal and the GoPro and everything, it's a huge step forward in that. Also as an owner of a 3DR Solo, which I still have and still use and like, I have to say this thing is the next gen after the Solo. I'm curious to see what Solo does with their software to help upgrade and maybe make it a little bit more competitive with this guy. I know that Solo is supposed to also announce a camera, a more professional camera with a bigger sensor that's going to go into its accessory port, which would be really nice. I would be curious to see if DJI does something similar. I don't really see the bottom of this thing as having an accessory port. It kind of looks like it's more of permanent attachment with regard to the gimbal, but you know, the camera quality, I have to say, is really good. I was always hesitant about buying a Phantom 3 and ended up choosing the Solo because I was a big believer that the GoPro Hero 4 was a better camera than the camera that came with the DJI Phantom 3. Now, I believe this is the same camera, but I have to say, after shooting some things with it and looking at the footage, it's really good, and the fact that you can control it so well within the app is just, it's killer. To be able to adjust exposure, to be able to adjust frame rate, ISO, all of those things are really important. The batteries in this thing seem to have a pretty good life. I've not flown it for a test to see how long it will go on a single battery, but I'm going to guess 20 minutes is probably not out of the question at all, maybe 25. I think that DJI is advertising even more, so I'll actually do a test and see what the real flight time is. But just as a first impression, as I said, it takes a little bit of time to set the thing up, so be sure you have some time and you aren't trying to fly it right out of the box, because you're going to need 45 minutes to an hour to get your app downloaded, your software upgraded, and everything ready to go. But once you do all that, the thing flies like a dream. It's nice and quiet. It's very well thought out. As I said, I really like where they've positioned some of the things in terms of the SD card and the USB port, and even just the little guard that comes to guard the camera while it's in the case, and the case itself. All brilliant. Very well done by DJI. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you are buying one, I would recommend watching the setup video that I did earlier. And also I have a video where I didn't put my props on properly and they all go flying off when I try to take off. No damage was done, but I felt kind of stupid, so I thought I'd post it online. Thanks for watching Ready Set Drone. Hope you've enjoyed this. If you have, please subscribe and leave your comments below. I try to reply to every comment I get. Thanks a lot, and we'll see you next time.